gentlemen, this meeting is being recorded. Man, we are so excited about this interview today. Man, another podcaster, another creator, another artist right here. I got it. Like, round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the founder of PropJosh Productions, Josh Abrams. Man, round of applause, man. Come on, y'all.
Oh, thank you. The
Got you, got
founder of PropJosh Productions.
the founder. I got it. You know how it is on those searching up the founder and established code since yeah.
He getting his Shannon Sharp intros together, just like,
Yeah.
build it up, let them know
Yeah.
this is who we got.
Okay, I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, got to, man. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So Josh, man, greatly appreciate you for stopping by, come on the show. We know you are a crazy busy just like us. We know that you are a like I said to my whole Shannon Sharp bit, filmmaker, artist, voiceover artist, actor, producer. Might as well you are like the jack of all trades, brother. Your hyphens are hyphenated and long list of many things you accomplish and do. Animator and just all around an awesome guy.
Oh,
so
thank you.
You're welcome, man. So yeah, bro, man. Before we get this show started, I saw you with the Philadelphia Eagles cap on, man. Is that the squad? Is that the squad right there?
Yes, that is the squad. That is my team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Congrats as well for the Super Bowl win, bro. Thank y'all.
Second win in history.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our quarterback's right here from Houston too, so from the Houston area. So I can't be mad at
that. Yeah, man. So, man, thank you again for putting that hurt on. Good on. He needed it. He needed it. We was tired of seeing those cheating ways over there in the Chiefs.
Man, I gotta say, like my daughter was asking me about the Super Bowl before it happened. She's like, "Who's playing the Super Bowl?" I was like, "My team," and she was like, "Oh, the Eagles." And she was like, "Who they playing against?" I said, "My least favorite team, the team I hate the most." She said, "Oh, the Chiefs."
Man, dude, we're gonna have to have a whole different another podcast when we talk about
we want to turn this a sports podcast real quick.
I'm telling you, man, real quick, man. So yeah, shout out to the Eagles, shout out to your team, man. Congrats on Super Bowl, man. Real quick, where are you originally from? Your mom asking.
Oh man, I'm from all over the place. Now, I mostly say Mississippi. I was born. Well, I wasn't born in Mississippi. I was raised in Mississippi. I was born in Chicago, raised in Mississippi. So Mississippi is my home. Anytime people ask me where I'm really from.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're really all over the place. All right, you got some here, there, everywhere. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah. I got family everywhere. Anytime I visit places. So, but yeah, Mississippi, that's my home.
Okay,
nice.
So let's go ahead. Let's get into it. So share with us your origin story and how you got started in becoming an artist, a storyteller, and doing what you do.
Oh man, it starts way back. So like it started with like when I was like a little kid. Like I've been drawing as long as I can remember. I'll tell you that right now. But like and this is before I was an animator and voice actor and all that stuff. I would draw comic strips. I would make like little booklets and stuff, little comic books and stuff when I was in school. It kind of was my outlet for like getting picked on and stuff. Like, I was bullied a lot and stuff. Even the teachers bullied me. That's how bad it was. So, I needed an outlet. So I had to, I started making little comic books and stuff like specifically when I was in high school. I remember this girl kind of like pretended to be my girlfriend. It made me feel so terrible that I just drew a picture about it, and it just cheered myself up. And I was like, so from then on, I was like, well, I felt like the best person to make fun of me is me. And so I made that into like a whole cartoon. And that's what it was all through high school. But then when I started filming, so I started filming like, and this is a weird story. I grabbed like a bunch of toys together. Like when I was a teenager, I bought like my first camcorder, and it was one of those big old camcorders too, that you put the VHS tape in, and and I would grab a bunch of action figures together and start filming them with my little brother, and just making little videos. And like, so that kind of opened up for my filming part. And so when I was in college, my dad passed away while I was in college. I was like at the end, like my senior year, and I had to do like a thesis, and my teachers, they wanted me to do like I had to do a thesis, and like I had failed my thesis the first time around, and it was for painting. I was studying art with emphasis in painting, but they saw that I had more of a love for drawing, and so there was like, I wanted to make my thesis about my dad, just kind of honoring him. And so they told me, well, you're not really doing enough with your paintings. So I had to redo the thesis. So they were like, how about you do something with drawings, and we see that you like filming? Because like at the time I was putting these action figure videos on TV. Like I worked at the University Television Center, and my managers saw my filmmaking skills, and I was like, hey, put this on the TV, but like after the main programming. And so my art teachers saw that, and it was like, man, you have a love for filmmaking, so do that for your thesis, but you can't use action figures.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started making my own figurines and stuff. And so I made my own figurines. I dedicated to my dad. I called it Father Tales. And what I did was, my dad was a preacher, and his very last sermon, he basically did like a testimony about himself, because like he had went blind and got his vision back in one eye. And so yeah. So it was a powerful story. So I wanted to retell it with the figurines, and I had so much fun putting that together. I was like, I want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And so then I ended up forming my own little web series called Josh's Journal, which I made it about my life growing up in high school and stuff. And from then is kind of how it bridged to things today, because like that web series Josh's Journal ended up turning into a movie with the same name, Josh's Journal, that is currently on Tubi.
Come on, man. I love that. That is an origin story right there. Yeah. Man, that's cool. And rest in power to your dad as well too. We really don't want to gloss that over. Being your one of your first heroes and inspiration and everything. That's pretty dope that you honored him in that way as well, man. So yeah. Was he always? What did he think about your paintings, your drawings, and all work? What did he think about it?
Oh man, he was very, very supportive. So he actually helped me start writing. Like when I was in the church. Like, of course, I grew up in the church, and they would do church plays, like Christmas plays every year. And like, eventually I started starring in the plays. So that was my first time, really doing acting.
Yeah.
And so I started in a couple of plays, and then after I was doing that, me and my dad decided to write a play together.
What?
Yeah, so we wrote this Christmas play together. I gave him more credit, but he was giving me more credit, so it was like a back and forth thing. So
yeah,
so it was fun. So he was very supportive. And what was funny was, it's like he was kind of prolific, yet like he kind of knew the future. It felt like,
yeah.
And so like when he saw my comics and stuff, he was like, I remember this one thing specifically that he said, because like I had him because I made the comic book about me, and he was in it, and I had an episode of a comic of him yelling at me, and he told me he was like, is that how I'm going to be portrayed in your media, is me yelling at you all the time? And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that, but sometimes. And he even said that he can't wait till he sees my name at the end of the credits or something.
Oh man. Yeah.
And before he died, he got to see that.
That's
Because
man.
like I said, I worked at the television center in my college, and he saw I worked, I was just like a cameraman, but he saw my name on the credits, and he was very happy about that. So from then on, so he's always been supportive.
Yeah,
So
man.
probably looking down at me and smiling. So that's
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think about that. Now, my goal is to make him proud, no matter what, even if he's been gone for like over 20 years now.
yeah, man. Beautiful story, man. That's man paying homage, paying respect, man.
Yes, yes. So, besides your own work, right? What are some of your personal favorite cartoons and why?
All right. So I love a lot of superhero stuff. I also love a lot of adult animations.
Mm,
Um, Man, I don't know what would be my favorite, but like my tops ones would be like Futurama and The Simpsons and South Park. So yeah, I really love like adult animations.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's dope too because I mean of course we can tell what your work and everything and of course we'll get more into your work and all that and that's been something that's been my favorite role too, adult animations. You know how us as little kids watching stuff we shouldn't be watching. Oh, this is a cartoon, and they drop an F-bomb or something like, oh man, this is well, this is something different, man.
Yeah, my dad used to forbid me from watching that stuff, but
Really.
yeah, but he couldn't stop me
Crack me
for
up,
long.
yeah.
I was like, no, I gotta watch this. This stuff I love this stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah. The Simpsons been on since, man, I think since I've
Forever.
been, yeah, yeah, since I've been born. I'm like, man, dude, like, yeah,
They
I think
never going off.
yeah, bro. I think I'm like 1 year older than the Simpsons. I think
oh
now I think
wow,
about it. Yeah,
yeah, I was
yeah,
a little kid.
yeah. Same thing right there. I was like, yeah, man. So yeah, hey, man, it's crazy and it's dope, man. So I want to ask you. So credit's great, and you created some of great and hilarious content. You also have won an award as well for having the best one of the best shorts competition. Talk about that when you won that award, the feeling and everything that went through into that.
Oh man, I barely remembered that.
Hey man, sometimes when you're so busy, you just like, oh, I did that too. Yeah, I did that too. I did that. Yeah, I did,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was I forgot what kind of award that was. It was for shorts award. That was for my series Malcolm and James.
yeah,
That's when I was first getting started with it. I had just did like the first season of it, and I was trying to get it out in the public and stuff. So when I submitted to this to that film festival,
yeah,
and it won an award, I was extremely happy about that. But I was like, that's step one, because like because what's funny was it was a really hot, it was a really great feeling. But
mhm,
like I couldn't help but to think back to like how it's all started, because I remember my very first film festival that I entered, I didn't get in. And I
mm,
remember taking a picture of the little card that said you didn't get in, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a picture of this because I know I'm gonna get in another
yeah,
time." And
yeah.
so fast forward and won something. I was like, "Yeah, So I was very happy about it."
Nice, nice, man. That's that working towards the dreams and goals. Like that was like your own personal one of your very first. Like you're like, oh no, I'm getting this. Like, nah, that's nah. We talk. I love
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. That's my drive, man. Anytime something kind of is like a hurdle in my way, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get around this. I
Yeah,
know something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
yes, sir.
So now you have a YouTube channel and podcast just like us, right? Um, and called what's it called? What are we talking about this time?
Yep.
And so in that space, let's say what are some of your favorite upcoming projects you can't wait to talk about, and what are some that you already have talked about that you just want that you think that should have some spotlight that everybody should be on their radar?
Oh man. So man, the way we do that podcast, because like we always call it a blurred podcast, black nerds and stuff. Like we talk about nerd
Mm,
stuff and just media. We mostly talk about movies and television and stuff. So pretty much anything that's coming out later in the year, we're definitely gonna highlight and talk about.
mm.
We, like we do a little section called To Be Tuesday. Like those are always fun. It's like the other guys, they always watch the movies before I do. They always watch the Tubi movies before I do. I always watch the TV shows and movies at the theater before they do. So they always message me like, "Oh, you gotta check out this movie on Tubi." And so whatever comes up, I'm like, "Let me hurry and watch it so I'll talk about it." And like, so I don't know which ones we got coming up next because it's like whatever comes out.
Hey, if y'all need a Tubi movie, I got a good one for y'all coming out this week.
Oh, okay. Let me know about that. I'll definitely let them know. So like, but as far as like the past episodes, I would say some of my favorite episodes from my podcast is like when we do like the best of the year, just highlighting everything that we liked from the year, because it kind of like we all got to like feed off each other and tell each other like what we checked out and what was great from the year and stuff. And those are always fun. Those are the longest episodes too. Those are like the over 2 hour long episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And that's dope too. Cause I'll be doing discussions like that as well too. And it's so much fun because like you said, we just like us right now, we're just sitting there chopping up, talking about like, what the hell is that all about? Or what was this? And it's just so much fun and everything. And I gotta I'm glad we're talking about this too, because I gotta go back and listen to your the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man one as well.
Yeah.
That was a really good, to me, that was a really good show as well. I enjoyed it on Disney Plus. Disney Plus always dropping something from Marvel. So yeah, I definitely gotta go back and listen to that. So I would say you also, it's crazy, like just talking to you, we have so many comparisons with our podcast and what we do and talk about. You recently, our group went to Comic Palooza. Was it 2 years ago, Chris? Like 1 year ago? Yeah. That was our first time being on a panel and talking to the audience and having people guess questions and everything. But you also, man, appreciate it. It was so much fun. We had a blast there. But you also had a blast as well too, for what it looked like when you went to LA Comic Con. Was it LA Comic Con?
Yeah, that's one of them.
yeah, one of them. How many you been to? You also met somebody famous there. I know you'll talk about that. But how was LA Comic Con? Or what all have you been to as far as the Comic Cons?
Man, so the Comic Con, I go. That's all right. I've been to so many cons. I've been to San Francisco, of course, LA. I went to Mississippi. That was one of the best ones. Vegas. I go. I pretty much all around the area that I'm in, because I'm in California, and so like, and I've been invited to a few or whatever. Sacramento. That was the first one I went to, was Sacramento Comic Con, and so yeah, LA Comic Con, this past one, that was like my third time being there. And like, but that was one of the best times, honestly, because it was I felt a little bit like a celebrity. So I'm gonna tell you something. I don't feel like I'm a celebrity. I don't.
Gotcha.
But like when I went there, people were reacting to me as if I was, doing big things and stuff. Because I remember one guy was telling me, comparing to the times we first met me, he's like, "Man, I met you, nobody know who you were." He said, "Now everybody be talking about you and stuff, and you coming in, and it's like, man, this dude PropJosh, he got his thing going on and stuff." So it was pretty cool. And I usually go to the cons to like network and stuff, and I'll meet some fans. Oddly enough, going to these cons, there's people who are fans of my work, and like one fan I hate that I missed. I was at my table and I left on it was a Sunday, which was the last day of the con, and I left my table to just go network and stuff, because I was mostly trying to stay at my table. And my friends that were sharing the table with me or whatever, they were telling me like, "Man, you had a fan looking for you," and I was like, "Oh man, I want to, I want to meet people and stuff." So
man, that's cool. Let's get into you mentioned it. Let's go ahead and get into some of your work. Let's talk about Malcolm and James, Fox My Life, Why I'm Single, and so much more. So how'd you come up with some of these stories and characters?
Oh man, so a lot of them is from childhood, believe it or not. Yeah. So first one I'll talk about is Why I'm Single. Why I'm Single is the one that just kind of took off first. And I started it back in 2020. And like that's probably the one that really got me to animate more, because I've been animating for years, but it was kind of just like off and on kind of thing. And so Why I'm Single kind of accidentally became a web series. All I was doing was just venting because I was recently single, and I was like, I just want to vent from just the dating world, and it just took off. People loved it, so I started, I put it on like this filmmaker's Facebook page, and like the people who ran that page contacted me, and I said, "Man, this is good," and stuff. So that kind of branched out, and I started meeting more people and getting people to be on that show, like different voice actresses and actors and stuff, and so that was fun. But yeah, I didn't mean for it to be a web series. Now it's kind of like 4 seasons. Like I have officially 4 seasons of that show. But Malcolm and James was the one that I was really trying to make into a series. So that one was my second series, even though technically it was my first series. It's just that I didn't release any episodes. So I came up with Malcolm and James when I was a kid. So this is a funny little story. When I was little, I had like me and my best friend, we would play with these toys together, and we just get all the black action figures together. And back in the 90s, there was not that many black action figures.
And struggling around here, I'm telling you.
And so I got like 2 black action figures that look like teenage boys, and I was like, hey, let's call them Malcolm and James. And like then I got a bunch of other toys around that weren't black, but I was like, we pretended like they were black people and stuff. And so while we were doing that, I was like, hey, let me draw. I was, our little artist. So I was like, let me draw these, how I pictured what these characters would be. And so fast forward years later, I was like, I kept those characters in mind, and I was like, well, I want to make a series about them. And I decided to make it take place in the 90s because that's when I was, kind of developed the idea, was back in the 90s. And I was like, this makes more sense for it to be in the 90s rather than modern day. And so, and which is fun because they kind of know the future a little bit. So it's kind of fun to do that where they'll be talking about like, yeah, I mean, we should take an Uber over here. And it's like, an Uber? Yeah, my cousin Uber, he drives people all the time, so it's like, since Uber's not invented yet. So that's the fun with Malcolm and James.
Man.
And then Fox My Life was my third and most popular series, which that kind of just blew up. I came up with those characters when I was like in first grade.
Wow.
Yeah. They were the characters I was drawing back in the day. That's why they have the names Fox, Turtle, Wolf, because I was a little kid, not being that creative. And those characters just kind of stayed with me as I grew up. And Fox My Life is actually a reboot from a little web series I did called Fox Previews Life, where they were figurines. And it was not that many people were watching it or whatever. But once I started animating a lot more, I was like, well, I want to bring these characters back. But honestly, like I mentioned earlier, I love adult animation. I was like, but if I bring them back, I want them to be very adult.
Right, absolutely.
Because I really thought about what would I watch, like what would I get into? Because I was like, like I said, I grew up in a church and I didn't want church people getting mad at me.
That's always the one right there being
I didn't want them getting mad at me for making these characters that I drew when I was a little kid to very adult, saying very coarse language.
Yeah,
but I was like, you know what? I don't care. This is my show. This is what I'll do when I watch it.
Yeah,
and oddly enough, a lot of them love it. Man,
that is hilarious.
When I was at Mississippi Comic Con, I saw my old pastor and his wife, and they were like, "Yeah, we want to watch this show." And I was like, "Are you sure?" I just want to warn you.
I'm like, you need a pre-warning.
That's what I'm talking about. That's hilarious, man. And it's always like that too. Being I grew up in the church as well too. And like it was some stuff as we talked about earlier, there's some stuff you watch like Simpsons or King of the Hill or South Park, and you have that little awkward, veil over you when your parents watching, like, oh no, you can't watch it, like, no, please, watch it. It's hilarious. So,
oh yeah, my mom is like my biggest fan, and she
nice.
knows I be putting some
Some raunchy stuff.
some
Yeah.
raunchy stuff out there, but she loves it. I was like, hey, well, if you're okay with it, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Oh my god, that is too hilarious, man. And I saw from, like, I think you shared with us the last time I worked with you on some voiceover work. Which, thank you as well, by the way, for a job, boss. So you shared with us that somebody famous that has been in some handful of films as well, that was also did voiceover on South Park, was able to join you for one of your animations. And
yes.
yeah, talk about that experience and when you met her and everything. I wanted you to talk about.
Oh, okay.
I know that was really dope for you to do that, but tell us about that.
Okay, all right. So I met Janicia Adams Ginyard, who's from the Black Panther movies, and she was in South Park special Into the Penderverse, where she played Cartman. She was the yeah, she played Cartman. And so I've actually seen her at a few Comic-Cons, but I never spoke to her.
Yeah.
But I officially met her at the latest Comic-Con through a mutual friend. Because, like, I had a friend of mine. I was like, hey, just introduce me. She was like, oh, she thought I was just being shy. And I was like, no, no, just introduce me, since you already know her. It's like easier that way. I can introduce myself, but it's just easier that way. Right. And so, like, I got to talking to her and met her, and she's very, very cool. One of the coolest people you ever meet.
Yeah.
And I was like, and she was like, hey, she found out I was an animator and stuff. She's like, yeah, you could hire me to be in one of your stuff. I said, hey, for real?
Hey.
I said, don't joke.
Right.
All about who you know in this business.
Yeah.
So the funny thing about that was I had to put her in my video because I had already wrote a script about South Park. I was doing a South Park parody. So I was already writing this. This was already done. And so meeting her, I was like, well, this is the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was doing this was because there was this guy some of my stuff is on YouTube. And this guy, he decided to do a video about Fox My Life, like a review. And so what he did was he was like a Portuguese guy. So it's like a different language. And so, like, he had commented in one of my videos. He said, hey, I did a review about your video. Go check it out. So I was like, oh, cool. All right. Yeah. So I go and watch this video, and he rips me apart. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, why'd you seek me out? If you're just going to rip me a new one. And so, like, he was just talking about how terrible my animation was. And that and one thing that stood out was that I was trying to be like South Park, but not doing a good job of it. And I was like, I'm not trying to be like South Park at all. Like, what are you? But part of me, I was like, it's because this guy is Portuguese. That's why he's saying this stuff.
Gotcha.
But it messed me up a little bit. I stepped away from Fox My Life for a couple of months after that, because it was like I was being real self-conscious about how I was animating. I was like, man, this ain't good enough. This ain't good enough because of that review. And so once I got over it, I was like, well, I'm going to write a episode about this, about my experience. And then I met Janicia, and I was like, and I told her the situation. So she's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Yes. And so in the video, a little bit of a spoiler, but I definitely want people to watch it, is that I basically get her and all my characters to cuss out his character. Like, basically just going off on him.
Man, no, that is see, I didn't know. I remember you saying something about that, but I remember that part right there. So I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Like, I'm happy that you kept going. I'm happy.
That was my Say Drake moment.
Hey, Drake.
Straight up, man. No,
so, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris. My bad.
No, I was gonna say, so What was the most like rewarding and hardest thing about just being an animation artist that you've experienced?
Most rewarding and hardest thing?
Yeah, two-part question. Yeah. So what's the most rewarding? What's the hardest?
All right. So most rewarding is dude, the most rewarding was definitely just meeting people, meeting fans, like going to the cons. Um so like when I went to Mississippi Comic Con, that was one of my favorites because it was like I was like a hometown hero kind of thing. So it was kind of cool. And like um I wasn't expecting the kind of love I was going to receive when I got there because I was like, wow, like I was not expecting that. So like meeting a couple of fans, I remember meeting these three young guys, and they saw my standees of my Fox and Turtle and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, it's that Fox! It's that Fox, man! It's that Fox from Fox My Life!" And they were so excited and happy, and then saw that I was the person that did that. It's oh man! So I had them take a picture with me and stuff, and with the
Yeah.
standees and stuff, and that was very very rewarding. Like and not just them, just anytime I meet fans, because most of the time I feel like I'm doing these videos for myself, and whenever I never see people
Yeah.
actually, I'm just seeing numbers, and so if I get like 1,000 views, I'm just seeing it as a number. I'm not
Yeah.
seeing it as like not realizing these are all different people with their lives and relating to the character and stuff. And so like, and I'm just expressing things that's going on in my life and
Yeah.
stuff through that. So when if I can actually touch them in their heart, that they relate to the character and they're happy, that's the most rewarding for me. Like
Yeah.
I remember talking to somebody, they thought that I was more about the money. I'm like, no, I'm actually more about the love for it.
Yeah.
I don't care if I don't get a dime for it, to be honest.
Yeah. Man, that is a beautiful and amazing way of how to look at that. Like the numbers are numbers, but it's like having that lasting effect on someone and making somebody's day with your animation and with what you write and create. That's the beautiful part of it. That's like what we really strive for. 'Cause like we said earlier, there are so many cartoons that we have watched as kids, and that voiceover artist just stuck with you, and you just enjoy that person and the art from it. And it's so yeah, man. That is very rewarding. And thank you for sharing that, by the way,
Sure,
too.
sure. And what's the second part of the question? The challenging, you said, Chris?
What's the most rewarding and what was the hardest part of being an animation artist?
Oh, okay. All right. So the hardest part, um, uh, I don't know, man. It's the maybe some of the sometimes the process of it, like
Mhm.
because it's a long process. I guess that would be the most challenging, like trying to get things done because it takes a long time to put it all together. It took me years to get to the point where I'm at now to like do one pretty quickly. So sometimes when I have like a longer animation, that would take forever. I would say like, oh yes. So Malcolm and James is my most challenging animation to do.
Mm, gotcha.
Like and that one's a lot harder because it has the smallest fan base out of everything.
Hmm.
Because Fox and Why I'm Single people love, like Fox has a large fan base, and Why I'm Single, black women of all people love Why I'm Single.
I'm
Man,
I've
sure.
heard,
I'm sure.
well, because the funny thing about it, it's like it's about the guy dating different women, and these women are terrible, but they
yeah,
love it. So,
yeah, there's some terrible women on this.
yes, it's based on some true stories. So,
Yeah,
Like a
but
whole nother conversation now.
oh yeah, of course. Um, but Malcolm and James is most challenging because it takes the longest. It takes me
yeah,
so long to put together. And then it's like, and while I'm doing that, I'm like, nobody's watching this. So it's kind of hard to keep going.
yeah,
So because like my latest one I did, he had like a birthday party, and so I had to animate all these people. It was so
yeah,
many people, and they're making little face expressions and moving a little bit, and I had to animate each and every one of them.
yeah,
Um, and people don't realize how much I do when I do an animation, because like I get so many people that will hit me up like, "Hey, can you do an animation for me? Hey, all the time." It was definitely a lot more a couple of years ago than now, and they would be like asking me to do like an hour long or 2 hour long animation. And so I tell them my price because I said, I'm just one guy. I'm not going to go lower than this price. And they're like, oh, well, never mind. You know, because they don't realize that I'm like, well, I'm making literally the backgrounds, the background people, everything, like, you know, because like I've met, because it's usually filmmakers they'll approach me, and it's a little bit easier to film than it is to animate, because it's like, you know, they have to find the location and get like, you know, background actors and stuff. And it's like, well, while you're doing all that, I have to make everything.
Yeah. Yeah, man, and that's the reason why, like, you really appreciate. I mean, I appreciate anybody that does what we do, and because, you know, we're actors, we're writers as well, and but, you know, the animation, that's something different. That's another different type of beast right there, because what you just stated right there, what you have to create and visually and mentally and put it
Yeah.
out there. So, man, thank you for what you do, man. Seriously. So,
Appreciate
man,
it.
yeah, man, kudos and props to you for what you do, man. Um, what's something that you're manifesting for 2025, or something that you're manifesting overall for what you want to get to or what you want to do?
All right, so I'm about to give y'all a big reveal.
Okay, hey, thank you.
About
All
to
right,
drop a gem.
yeah, please drop some gems. Yeah,
Just saving it for the podcast.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so one of the things I'm manifesting for 2025, and that's coming to light because I manifested at the very beginning of the year, is that my animated series, Fox My Life, will be streaming.
Congrats, dude. For real.
Yes. So we don't know which channels yet.
Yeah.
I mean, like most likely like 90%, 99% chance it's gonna be on Tubi. So that's pretty much a definite. But it could be other channels as well. So it's on it just passed the distribution test. Like, it got to be on this distribution site, which they're going to pitch it to many different streaming channels. And so that was one of my life goals, is to get one of my shows on TV for the world to see. So so I've been spending like the past few months getting that together, like, because like right now Fox My Life is like, it's just like shorts, but I put it together as 22-minute long episodes. So it's like 7 episodes. It's gonna be a whole first season coming out in April.
Nice.
Dude, congrats, bro.
Nice.
Seriously, like that's dope. I'm happy for you. Hard work pays off, and just doing something that you go ahead.
Go ahead. No, just definitely let us know when the release date is and everything.
April 4th. 4/4. Yes.
Be sure to lock that in, audience. April 4th.
April 4th, yeah. Definitely got to have you come back on and talk about that again. I know you're crazy your schedule's about to get even 10 times crazier.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey,
we'll work something out.
Yeah.
Before we get you out of here, just give us one gem that you can just share with the audience that's helped you along the way, along your journey, that can help somebody else that's trying to move through this industry like you have.
Okay. Somebody once told me, it's like this professor guy. He said, remember to ABC, always be creating. And that stuck with me. Even I was doing it before that, but he was because I had just did my movie and I was showing this guy my movie, and he was like, he really admired it. And he was like, what are you working on next? And that's when I was like, well, I'm working on this series called Malcolm and James. And he was like, good. So always be creating. That's what you should always be doing. And like my advice just for people in general is to don't worry about the hurdles. Do what you can with what you have already. Because like I wasn't always an animator. This was like a more recent thing for me. So like I said, I grabbed a bunch of toys together and started filming them, or I was just drawing little books and stuff. Like that was my way of entertaining no matter what I had. And so it took me years before I was going to get to that point to actually animate. Like I said, I was making figurines and filming with them because I didn't know how to animate. I almost gave up on animation, to be honest. Like right after I graduated college, because like that's when I first learned animation was in college. And It was more 3D animation, and my stuff sucked. And so I was like, I'm done. I was like, literally, right when I graduated, I said, I'm done. But then I ended up getting a small little animation program, and I was like, well, let me just practice on this a little bit more. And years later, that practice became professional. So
yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. Thank you for sharing.
Bro, yeah.
Go ahead and let our people know where they can follow you at, they can find you at.
Oh yeah. Oh, so PropJosh. You can find me as PropJosh on everything. Of course, YouTube. I have 2 YouTube channels, PropJosh Parodies and PropJosh Originals. So, but you type the name PropJosh, you'll find me on YouTube and find all my videos. And of course, I have on TikTok, it's also PropJosh. And on Instagram, I have 2 Instagrams. It's PropJosh and PropJosh_productions. The PropJosh_productions is the one I tell people about. The other one is just like, it's just me. It's weird, random. I'm completely random when it's my personal one. So I'm just like, whatever. I just throw whatever is on. So I try to get people to go to the PropJosh_productions.
Nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. PropJosh, Josh Abrams, man. And also, thank you once again for giving me, me and Chris and others, a shot at some voiceover work, bro. And like, be honest with you,
I was Bishop in your X-Men future.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, because y'all in the same universe. I might do it like a little crossover one day.
Dude, hey, I'm all for it, man.
Because Joffrey, you played Black Panther, and so I did all this Marvel stuff. So y'all both in my Marvel videos.
Dude, that was so before it was fun, and I just had to say thank you. That was my next step because I already got the acting thing. I didn't say this on lock, but I'm pretty much transitioning towards where I'm transitioning towards and acting. But man, like what you said earlier about being rewarding when you meet the people and everything. I'm just telling, and finally, meeting you and talking to you, just telling you thank you because Black Panther is like one of my favorite heroes, and Chadwick Boseman was one of my favorite heroes as an actor, and tears every time I think about what happened to him.
Of course, yeah.
And it hits me right here. Just even it was like we're joking and playing around. It was so much fun doing that and honoring that character in that way. And when I showed that clip or just showed everybody that full episode, they fell out laughing. So thank you, man, for giving me that opportunity to do that.
Of course.
And thank you for just overall thank you. It was funny as hell. Hilarious. So yeah.
Agree. I second that.
Of course.
Yeah, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, follow, and subscribe to Josh's YouTube channel as well, both YouTube channels, and follow him as well, man. You got some great stuff coming up, and keep doing what you do, brother. Many blessings to you and your family.
Oh, thank you.